Your mind is literally like a fertile ground. It's like a fertile soil. So what you feed it, that's what it will grow. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Harolyn. I just realized I never fully introduced myself to you guys. So my full name is Harolyn, but I prefer Lynn because that's my childhood nickname. So as you guys can tell by the title, it will be about stress and depression and my story and just giving you guys self-care tips. I put down some stuff because I don't want this video to be too lengthy. So general anxiety disorder is characterized by persistent and excessive worry about a number of different things. People with GAD may anticipate disaster and may be overly concerned about money, health, family, work, or other issues. Individuals with GAD find it difficult to control their worry. They worry more than seems warranted about actual events or may expect the worst, even when there is no apparent reason for concern. Depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and how you act. It is also treatable. Depression causes feelings of sadness and or loss of interest in activities you've once enjoyed. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems and can decrease your ability to function at work and at home. Depression looked like to me not wanting to wake up, if we're being honest. Depression felt like I was forcing myself to do things so I can seem like I'm okay, but in reality I'm not, if that makes sense. Like, I was forcing myself to like go out or like forcing myself to still be sociable. In reality, I would rather not be alive. I wouldn't say I was necessarily suicidal to the point where I wanted to kill myself, but it was more if somebody decided to take my life, it was like, okay, do that. I didn't necessarily want to commit suicide. Did I want to do it to myself? But if I were to not be alive, I would definitely be okay with that. At what point in my life was I affected by it? I would say, looking back now that I know what anxiety and depression is, I would say that probably was honestly depressed my whole entire life, like my childhood and stuff. Really affected me earlier this year in February. I was sexually assaulted. So that's when things hit rock bottom for me, because after that I didn't go to class. Like the whole month of February, I did not go to class. Failing all my classes, like I'm talking about F's. It's really by the grace of God I even passed those classes by the end of the semester. And then COVID happened. We had to move back home from campus to our homes, and that was pretty difficult for a change because I was away for college for like the first 3 years, like freshman, sophomore, and junior year. To go from like having your own freedom to home was kind of like definitely when I would say it peaked for me. But like in high school, I don't really think I suffered with anxiety or depression or anything like that. I honestly didn't really know what they were, because in my household we definitely weren't talking about that, especially in the African American community. We were not talking about that. When I hold things in, I coped with it with alcohol, laying down all day, I guess you could say sleeping, not eating. That's also really bad. I really had bad insomnia, and that didn't help because it's like I already am depressed and have anxiety, and then I'm on these medications, and then on top of that I don't sleep. And you know that you do need sleep, because not having any sleep affects your mood and all that. And then on top of that, it's like I'm not sleeping, but then I have depression, and you know depression affects your mood, insomnia affects your mood. So it was like I was double moody, I was double sad, I was double basically everything. To drinking, I didn't really smoke too much, but I'm gonna put drugs in there because I did use drugs every now and then. It was like weed though. I bed till like 4 or 5 p.m, not going to class, not talking to anyone. Like the people that I knew I talked to, like my friends and stuff from school. And that it was, honestly, all of my coping mechanisms were bad. I did eventually start going to therapy, I will say that, and that's when I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and then anxiety. Crazy, because there were times when she told me that I would be in session with her and she was like, I can tell you're physically not here, but yeah, I mean, you're physically here, I'm sorry, you're physically here, but you know, mentally you're elsewhere. And I have a issue with that, with associating myself, especially when you go through trauma, like childhood trauma, and what I went through with the assault victims of sexual assault. One way to cope is by dissociating ourselves with our trauma. So, and I have a really, really bad habit of doing that, just dissociating myself in general, even with my trauma or just in life or currently. Like I can physically be there, but I can mentally be somewhere else. And like I felt like that was a good way for me to cope. But through my therapist and talking to her and stuff, I'm realizing that's not necessarily a good way to cope, because you're not really handling the situation, if that makes sense. You're just dissociating yourself with the trauma or with reality and not handling it. Basically, you're running away from reality by dissociating yourself. Everything was on Zoom. I wasn't really consistent with her because I'm not somebody who can just do stuff virtually. Like I have to be there with you. So I kind of stopped going to her. And then that's when I ended up finding a new therapist, but I stopped going to that one because my insurance didn't take her. So I had to pay out of pocket, and that was kind of getting pretty expensive. And then I decided, like I said before, I had insomnia. So, and I still have insomnia. I've had insomnia for almost 2 years now. So I decided to get with a sleep doctor, and he diagnosed me with trazodone and Lexapro. Lexapro is an antidepressant. They're in the other room, but Lexapro is an antidepressant. Trazodone is technically considered antidepressant too. It's mainly used for depression, but trazodone is mainly used for sleep, like that. But I'll definitely get more into that a little bit later towards the end of the video. Experience like abuse when I was younger as well too. So therapy kind of resurface all those things, because like I said before, when you're victims of like abuse and stuff like that, you suppress those memories. Your mind suppresses those memories. So for the longest, I even forgot that happened to me until like I went to therapy, and then like all these memories and all these things are coming back. So I was like, okay, I was dealing with school on top of that, because school is stressful. And then I'm remembering things from my childhood, and then COVID happened. So it kind of just felt like everything was happening to me back to back to back. First week I've used Lexapro, it was hell. My anxiety was like over the roof. I was not sleeping, and it made me even more annoyed because like, hello, I need to sleep. That's why I went to online and read reviews of other people that was on Lexapro, and they said the same thing too. They was like, the sleep was horrible the first week and their anxiety was worse. It's like I'm on medication for anxiety, but if anything, it's making my anxiety worse, if that makes sense. But instead I'm being like anxious over the medicine, which is making my anxiety worse, because I would be searching like the side effects, and I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not doing this, X, Y, and Z. The first night I took it, I didn't like the way I felt, so I said no more. So I didn't take it for like 3 days, and don't do that. Definitely be consistent. So when I decided to take it again, and then when I started taking it again, I would say I was sleeping pretty good, and I would say it definitely made me feel calm and relaxed. So when I took it for like 2 weeks straight, I started off on 5, then I went to 10 milligrams, and then that's when I decided to do trazodone. I was like, okay, let me try trazodone. First night I took trazodone, it was hell. I was like, no, I'm not doing trazodone. Like, I honestly thought I was about to have a heart attack. It was really, really hot. I had bad chest pains, and then like while I was laying down, I wanted to call on my sister to tell her what was going on, but like my body could not move. I don't know what that was about, but it was just really, really scary. So then I was just like, okay, like at this point, I don't know what to do. So I've been dealing with insomnia for about like a year and a half. And even when I talked to the doctor, he told me, he was like, honestly, I think your insomnia is more anxiety based, insomnia based. He was like, I think it's just your anxiety taking over, if that makes sense. So then that's when I did trazodone. I only took trazodone 3 or 4 times. The first time I took it, I did not sleep. The other 2 times I took it, I slept. But the last time I took it, which was sometime this week, I did not sleep. It had me up. Doctor says to just be consistent with it, and that's one thing I really suffer with, is consistency. I'm not consistent at all. One thing I'm learning is to deal with my insomnia, my depression, and my anxiety, but not claiming it. Like, I don't want to claim it. I don't want to claim these things at all, but I am going to deal with it, because I feel like the more I told myself I'm depressed, the more I told myself I'm anxious, and the more I told myself I have insomnia, it's like my mind was really believing these things, and they were really taking over. And I'm like, no, I don't want them to take over. I want to deal with them, I want to handle them, and I want to throw them in the trash. I struggled with my appetite, because antidepressants suppress appetites, and then when you're depressed and have anxiety anyways, I know for me specifically, like when I tell you I was not interested in anything, even food, like I would not eat all day, and if I did eat, it was like one thing, and I'd keep it pushing. I'm getting better with the eating. It was to the point where I like starve myself, and I know this is not good at all. I'm not telling anyone to starve themselves, but I would literally like starve myself for like days. And then like I said, if I did eat, it would probably be like a snack. It wouldn't even be anything that's like nutritional or anything like that. It would probably be like a snack. And now that I'm on the antidepressants, I slowly am getting my appetite back, I will say. So I have been eating more, and I have been eating a little bit more healthier now, and I try to do eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner rather than before when I was just not eating anything. And then also I have been exercising. I will say when I worked out for those 2 weeks back to back, I felt great, and I was sleeping good. I felt great. So I'm gonna definitely get back to exercising, because I noticed that's one thing that did help me. I have gotten closer with God as well. Even though I grew up in a Christian household, I knew God for myself. I only knew him for who he was for my parents and my siblings. Now in September of last month, I decided to go on a fast. Hours of 12 to 4. I did not eat anything, drink. I did drink, but I didn't eat anything. And I just prayed for those hours, 12 to 4, literally every single day. Honoring God, I was worshiping him, and that was my first actual encounter and connection with him. And I've been alive for 21 years, and I've been a Christian since I was basically born. And I've gotten closer with him in the past, month and a half, and I've known him forever. That's what personally has helped me. I'm getting closer with God, being a connection. And I mean, like, I read every day my Bible. That's my Bible right here. This is my Bible right here. I literally read this Bible every single day. my devotional. This is by Joyce Myers, and it's called The Confident Woman. This has helped me as well. And then my journal, and this is my journal. I write in her every day. I'm writing to God, to myself, or what somebody did to me. I'm writing. Realizing that literally God is the only person that can heal me. Like, he is my healer. If you have depression or anxiety, you have to have a healthier lifestyle, like eating habits healthier, sleeping habits healthier, your everyday habits healthy, all that stuff. So I had to stop with the alcohol because it has too much sugar, and every time I drank I always felt bloated and I felt disgusting. I just had to let that go for myself. Therapy is definitely important, especially as in our culture, African American culture, we shun therapy. And it's like, if you go to your therapist, something's wrong with you, or you're crazy, or X, Y, and Z. But it's like, no, I see it as God put therapists on earth for us to use them. So I'm going to use a therapist. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, God is the only person that can heal you. I agree. But sometimes faith without works is dead. We can't really pray about all these things and then like lay down and then not expect anything to happen. I personally feel like therapists were put on this earth for a reason, so I'm going to use them. Also, music. I will say the music that I listen to. One thing about me, I know this is weird, whenever I'm sad, I will listen to music that would make me more sad. So I had to change the music I listened to. I had to change the conversations. I had to change the things that I was watching as well, because a lot of those things influence you. They really do. So like now I mainly listen to worship music, and like sometimes I listen to like Caribbean music because I'm Haitian, to like Caribbean music, Afro beats type of music, because I do like those music. They make me want to dance and stuff like that. So music that are honestly uplifting is what I listen to, and that helped change me, because if I was sad, I'd go put on Adele, or if I was sad, I'd go put a sappy artist and make me more sad. Basically drowning in my sadness instead of trying to swim to the surface to get out of the depression and anxiety and the sadness. I would sit in my sadness, say that's not, from personal experience, that's not good at all. Like I said earlier, with my anxiety, my depression, but don't claim it. Don't let it take over my life, because I see it as a parasite. The longer it's living in you, the longer it's going to take over your body. Like the moment I feel depression about to come over, the moment I feel anxiety about to come over, I'd be like, no, no, you cannot stay here. You can't come. Like, no, like, I'm so sorry. No. Okay, guys, so my camera ended up dying, but I remember the last few things that I said was about self-care tips. The first was, of course, spending time with God. Therapy, finding the right therapist for you. The one that I saw strictly dealt with anxiety and mind and body healing. And that's what I was looking for. Self-care days. I was reading, going to the spa, went to the park, taking stuff to dinner. I had specific self-care days. And one thing I did was I planned out my days so that lessened my stress, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Literally was all planned out. Like I said before, I changed the music that I listened to, the conversations that I was having, and the things that I watched, and the company I kept around. I also listen to uplifting Christian worship music, and like I said, I do listen to like Caribbean music and stuff like that, because I do like that I watch, and the conversations and the company that I kept around me. Because one thing I learned, misery loves company, and the things that you watch, the things that you say, all that, like your mind is literally like a fertile ground. It's like a fertile soil. So what you feed it, that's what it will grow. What you watch, that's what it, all that. So if you keep feeding it negativity, your mind is gonna grow negatively. So that's why I said I changed what I watched, changed the conversation that I was having with people, and changed the music that I was listening to as well. Oh, journaling and writing. Like I said, I journal. This is my journal right here. Reading inspirational books. The last book I read was 4 Agreements. Right now I'm on Boundaries. And the next book I want to read is right here. It's called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. And me, if you know me, I'm an introvert, and I'm a very quiet person. I'm actually very shy. People don't believe me when I say I'm shy, but I'm really shy. I love reading, and reading, you get a lot of knowledge with reading. Just honestly, it brings me peace. It makes me very, very calm. Realizing your body is a temple, and we need to take care of it as such. So sleeping, eating habits, all that give you energy and give you fuel. If you don't eat well, you're not getting enough fuel in your body, like nutrition and stuff like that. And if you are not sleeping, you're tired. And when you're tired, you don't want to do anything. Less people and more me. Saying no is very important, especially when struggling with anxiety and depression. Sometimes you have to turn everyone and everything off and you on. One thing I learned was 80% don't care and 20% glad that it's you. So I learned to stop seeking opinions and validations from others and finally listen to myself and my body, because I'm the one going through it, nobody else. It's less people and more me, hence why I have my own specific self-care days. Starting to say no. Less no, No, I mean, sorry, more no. Yeah, more no and less yeses. Honestly, I'm very emotional, so I receive and take other people's problems as my own. And I think that I can heal everyone and be everyone's therapist. That was also one of my coping mechanisms, because I didn't have to worry about what I had going on. Because my friends' problems, I was helping them out with that. X, Y, and Z problem, I was helping them out with that. And I liked it, because I actually, at one point, I wanted to be a therapist. Not so much anymore. So I like to listen to other people's problems, because in my mind, I was a therapist. And I don't have to deal with what I have going on. I literally take everything in. That's one reason why I had to get off on social media. I had deactivated my Instagram because it was too much going on social media, and I was receiving everything. And we all know a lot of the stuff that's on social media is not necessarily positive. It's too much comparison, and it's too much. This is very important. I'm forgiving myself and anyone that has ever hurt me. In this case, forgiving someone that has hurt you. So resentment and living in my truth is honestly what has helped heal me, because now I can let go. Yeah, now I can let go and let God use me in any way that he can, because now I'm free from what was keeping me bondage. When you're in a bondage or in a spiritual cell, you're obviously not free. Something is controlling you, whether it's your anxiety, depression, insomnia, or even in some cases, a demon. Once you finally decide to release and let that spirit go and rebuke it, God can finally use you. He wasn't able to before because you was a slave to whatever was keeping you in that darkness. But when you choose to come to the light, it is so much better, and you can see and you're aware and more vigilant. Really, forgiveness and resentment is what was keeping me bondage, is what was keeping me in my depression and in my anxiety. I had so much resentment in my heart. I had so much hatred in my heart. I was always blaming. One thing about it is, as humans, we always want to find someone to blame, but sometimes you just have to accountability and take responsibility for what you can control and deal with that. I was tired of being depressed. I was tired of going through this sadness, and I finally realized, like, at the end of the day, I'm in control of my life. Of course, there are things that I cannot control. That's different. There are certain things that's honestly in God's control, where everything is in God's hands. The things that I can control here on earth, I'm going to control them. Like my life, respond to people, how I respond to stress, and my destiny. Like, I am literally in charge of my destiny. Like, in life, you have two options. You can choose light or you can choose darkness. Like, God literally gave us free will. So with your free will, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to continue living in this dark life and letting depression, anxiety, insomnia, all these worldly things control you? Or are you going to finally give your problems to me, which is God, and let him handle it? Yeah. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is different from my channel. I don't really do sit down videos or anything like this, but definitely you're going to see more of me. I'm going to change up my content, and I want to change up the videos that I am going to do from now on. So yes, I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely comment down below. We can definitely have some discussions or anything you guys want to ask me. I'm here. So thank you for watching. I love you guys. Bye.